What is up, everybody? Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Marvel Rivals. Today we're going to be taking a look at this guy, Bray. He's a Scarlet Witch main, and I've seen a couple streamers react to his gameplay earlier in the week, and so I wanted to see what this guy's actually capable of. The last couple games that I've watched were a little bit one-sided, and they were not necessarily a Scarlet Witch diff. They were more of a team diff. So we're going to get into this one and we're going to see what this guy's able to do. This isn't a Grandmaster lobby as well, so he's not playing against noobs or anything like that. And this is going to be more of a pop-off game. I try and pick games that are a little bit more even usually, but this is going to be a little bit more him in the driver's seat for sure. I also tried to pick something in Convoy instead of Domination because I feel like Scarlet Witch has a little bit more flexibility in Domination where she's able to get behind the enemy team. No one's focusing like a specific direction. And with Convoy, it's going to be a little bit harder to, get behind people, do all that sort of thing. Bucky gets a nice pull on the Mr. Fantastic there. Gets a little bit more damage, trying to stay just at max range of her left click so that she can recharge those right clicks. Chuck those into the enemy. And playing a little bit more front to back than other Scarlet Witches that I've seen, but just getting damage on the targets that are dropping a little bit low, and then trying to get a little bit of cleave damage on her right click. Throws her E right into the crowd of people right on the back of that point there. As Fantastic steps up, he uses his shift, and I think the thing that I've noticed as I've been watching a few of this guy's replays is that he always shifts if he's low, if she shifts on low HP. You can't be healed when you're in your shift on Scarlet Witch. So if you didn't know that, and you're pinging for healing, you quite literally cannot be healed. But he usually uses his shift and ends up in line of sight. So he'll kind of shift, back up, make sure that he comes out of his shift in a safe place, and then he's able to get topped off and get back into the fight. So he just did it there around the ambulance as well. But that's something that I've noticed that he does a good amount. He might not do it every single time, but definitely something to keep in mind. So right now he's already farmed ult. We're still just playing front to back Scarlet Witch, still getting a good amount of frontline damage. The Doctor Strange is able to keep his team pretty much safe here. The Luna ult comes out and he uses his ult to combo with it, knows that he won't be able to die very easily in while he's being healed with that Luna ult. So Mr. Fantastic on the enemy team ults. They should be able to just kind of easily deal with that. He did kind of ult away from his entire team, so not a whole lot going to happen there. And they are coming up on the second storm ult of the game as well, so they should be sitting in a decent place. The enemy Luna does ult, so they're just going to have to back right up. They're all getting on his Luna very quickly, and he's just going to walk around this corner, get a full reset, wait for his team. I probably wouldn't have committed Storm ult here. Storm's only able to get one. The Bucky backs up into a little bit of a weird position, so they're able to get two. But I think you probably should still save Storm ult there for when you have your full team around. Still contesting point though, so maybe this is the vibe. I don't know. Leave it a comment though. Do you think she should have saved ult or send it? Doctor Strange is luckily able to just get back to point, and they're able to push the enemy off of it, but I think that fight could have gone a very, very different way. I don't know. I would have just saved it, waited for the full reset, and then team fight with everybody there. And just under a minute left on the clock. They haven't even gotten to this first point yet, so we're feeling pretty good. They do lose their Bucky, so going to be down a person in this final fight. Final push for this point. His Doctor Strange lands an ult on, I think, one person there. Not really able to get a whole lot. Unfortunately, doesn't have his shift up for the Doctor Strange, so gets clipped by that. Trying to get a little bit more damage on the tanks before backing up and waiting. The other team is going to be able to get this first point, though. Very disjointed fighting there. That was not close to what they were doing earlier in the game. So, and when there's under a minute on the clock left, I mean, if that Storm ult had been there, you save it for overtime or something like that. Touch cart. I think this could have been a little bit of an easier game. Luna ult on his team, going to be able to keep them all safe. Once again, comboing the Scarlet Witch ult with the Luna ult. Unfortunately, not a great angle. Doctor Strange just soaks that up with his shield. The game that Tim was spectating the other day too, he comboed with Invisible Woman ult, which I think is a really good idea. You use the ult and you use Scarlet Witch ult in Invisible Woman ult. The little like red warning symbol doesn't even show up for the enemy team, so I think that's super good. Try that out too if you're playing with an Invisible Woman. Try and save your ult for her so that the enemy can't see you and you can just kind of pop out and take out a couple enemies and they have no idea where you're coming from. Especially if the Invisible Woman ult would be like around the corner or something. You can start it around the corner just so you don't get clipped by anything. Playing a little bit better now. They're a little bit more organized. This Groot on the side is being a little bit annoying, but just throwing right clicks, making sure he's not overcapping on his right click charges in the center of the screen. And the enemy Star-Lord does ult. Takes out one. Bucky takes out two. And they're going to get full wiped here going into this second point. Just over a minute on the clock. I feel like at this point I've seen so much gameplay, it's hard to be, I guess, super impressed. But this guy is playing a, Scarlet Witch in a Grandmaster lobby, and it just doesn't happen a whole lot. So I think that's part of the reason that this is a good gameplay. This is not how a Scarlet Witch game would go if I was playing Scarlet Witch. I'll tell you right now. But he's playing behind his tanks, just barely behind his tanks. I don't know who I could even compare this to, but he's playing with more of the positioning of like a Bucky or something like that, where you're playing behind your tanks, in front of your healers, pretty front to back, not going too flank heavy. And that might be because he's on defense as well. I think it's just because you want to be there for your healers and make sure that if someone gets on them. This would be a cool character to spectate again if we do like against like a dive comp or something like that, to see if he plays the same way, taking out assassins that get on his healers, that sort of thing. Sees the Strange portal come out, gets a nice ult, takes out the Doctor Strange with it. Quickly wipe the enemy team in overtime and finish the round with a score of 1-0. So pretty good, pretty dominant first round. So now all they need to do is just get that second point, and they are sitting pretty. Sticking on Scarlet Witch for offense. See if he does a little bit more flanking here. Immediately going up to high ground, using that shift to ascend over there. Throwing some right clicks. Not getting a whole lot of value out of those, but getting a little bit of damage on this Groot here. Using his shift to get back up and maintain height. Strange going up here to answer him. Throwing out his E to stop them from getting into that room. Getting a little bit of stun. Sees the... what is that, Invisible Woman? Yes, Invisible Woman drop low in the background. Tries to get a little bit more damage on her. His Bucky is able to take out the Doctor Strange there, so they're going to be -1 tank. Sees a few people there, getting a right click, getting a lot of cleave damage there. And they're able to quickly wipe the enemy team. Squirrel Girl getting stuck on a wall there. And they get a very quick wipe. And I think that was a situation where, I mean, he played the flank pretty well. He played the high ground pretty well. I think his team definitely got a nice pick on the Doctor Strange there too, but still very good backline pressure, especially against two healers that don't really have a lot of self-healing as well. Again, playing high ground, playing the flanks a little bit more. So yeah, this is where he's doing a little bit more assassination as Scarlet Witch, and he's just getting on this Luna. She doesn't have as much self-healing, so she's forcing the other enemy healer to look at the Luna to keep her alive. Taking a little bit of that pressure off the tanks. Squirrel Girl once again gets caught in a little bit of a weird spot. Bucky goes a little bit too deep with the storm, so they're going to be down 2 DPS here. But Hela going towards the back line there. They're probably just going to have to concede this point. Hela ult and Rocket ult both blown there. He gets chased down by the Doctor Strange. And they're going to get pushed off a point, but just under 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game, so they should be okay. Plot twist, I know that they're going to be okay, because we saw that they won. Going again for the flank, sees the rest of his team going to that path on the left side of here. Maybe going for a right-hand flank over here? I hope so. Gets a little bit of damage on the Strange. Nothing too lethal there. And then we have the Luna ult coming out again. Once again, comboing Scarlet Witch with Luna so that he can't die while he's charging it up, forcing the enemy team to back up there. The enemy team lands a mean Doctor Strange ult with the Luna ult to make sure they all stay safe, and they get a 5 for 1, I believe, there. So we're just going to back up behind this ambulance, tend to our wounds, and we'll get back in there. And no defensive ults from the enemy team. They did blow Invisible Woman ult there and Luna, so should be in a good space coming up here. Doctor Strange really overextends or gets pulled by the Bucky or something. Has to use his left shift to get out of there. Tries to get some damage on this Squirrel Girl. Bucky's able to follow up and take her out. Rocket Res is used. Storm ult, Rocket ult, and Doctor Strange ult all come out, so they're going to get a pretty easy ace, I would imagine, here. Taking out yet another member of the enemy team. No access to that Luna, so there should be one healing at least for the next 20 meters or so. Throwing his E right in that hallway. I think he should have maybe put that a little bit more to the right, but... And then his Doctor Strange getting a nice double portal there, so the enemy cannot contest unless they go to the right-hand side there, and they get the victory with a score of 2-1. So definitely two different playstyles, playing a little bit more on the flanks and on high ground when he's on attack, and playing a little bit more with his team when he's on defense. So go ahead and check this guy out. I will, of course, leave his Twitch or YouTube or anything like that I can find in the description below, as well as the replay ID. So if you want to watch this guy play a little bit more Scarlet Witch, go ahead. As you can see, doesn't do anything crazy, doesn't get a 5-piece ult or something like that, but does a good amount of damage, does what he needs to do, goes 28-4, and most importantly, doesn't die a whole lot. So like the video if you liked it, leave a comment what you guys want to see next, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.